Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about The Last Ship, Season 1, Episode 1, Phase 6. The Last Ship is a extremely good show that lasted for 5 seasons on TNT that came out in 2014. This isn't the rundown review, it's just like the first episode. And so, like, it was one of the first shows I ever watched on, my tablet and stuff back when I got my first tablet. And I was very fascinated with this show, but I started in season 3 because that's the current season that was on. After that, I later got Hulu and then watched the first 2 seasons, and I was very shocked and surprised because things had like changed over time and new cast members and stuff. And so this show came out before the you know what virus. And it deals with that of a super virus. Now, this is a military show. And it's the first, I think, military show I ever watched that wasn't like a sci-fi military show like Star Trek and stuff. And it was really fascinating and cool. I really like how they do like the imagery on the show, all the practicality that they use. They use a number of different like museum ships and stuff to film their show. And the way they oh my god, dude, like the action, the firepower, like when the missiles and stuff are going, well, the missiles are like CGI, but when they do like the other stuff, using like the cannon guns and like all this other stuff, I don't know the proper names of them. It's like so cool and seeing like reload and shoot the cartridge out. And like, ah, man, that's so awesome. This show really gets you pumped. Now, I don't know how realistic this is to actual naval military and stuff. Because I know like a lot of people in the military, they don't like watching military shows or military movies because they're not accurate and stuff like that. This show is actually based off of a novel that came out, I think, in like the 80s or something. In the novel, it deals with the world dying of nuclear war and everything. But in the show, it's a super virus. Boy, little they know that in a few years from now, the real world will be dealing with one. So anyways, it starts off with 2 doctors. Dr. Scott, played by Rhonda Murta, I think her name is. Rhonda Mitter, or something like that. She's a British actress. I've seen her. The first thing I ever saw her in was Sweet Home Alabama. She had like a small cameo. And then I've seen her in some other movie that I never finished because I just didn't like. But then she was in the third Underworld movie as Victor's daughter. And she's Rachel Scott, Dr. Rachel Scott. And she is like a microbiologist. And she's with her colleague, Quincy Tobin. And so, they're in Egypt, and a huge viral plague has broke out in Egypt and stuff. And the virus looks disgusting. Like it's like this nasty rash with blistering blood, like bumps and stuff like that. And she said, once the bumps start, then that's pretty much like it's over with. Like you're dead after that. You know what I'm saying? And they don't know how this virus was created or anything like that. So she takes a sample of his blood. So one thing that this show that pisses me off is time jump. So it's like you never know when time is like skipping around, right? And so her and Quincy, they're out on the ice and they are at some point in time, 4 months have passed by or some months have passed by. And a U.S. naval ship passes them, the USS Nathan Jones. And so the USS Nathan Jones is our hero ship. And so it's commanded by Commander Tom Chandler, who's played by Eric Dane. And I remember him in the third X-Men movie as Multiple Man. And so he has gray hair now. So him and his crew, they're out doing what they're doing. I think out by the Arctic and stuff. And they pick up Quincy and Rachel. And so for 4 months, this is what I'm saying, 4 months has passed by, you know what I'm saying? And we don't even know it. So it's like, okay, whatever. I hate when shows do that, man, when they time jump and they don't actually put the words. Yo, this many months have passed by. They can put where the location's at. They can't never put the months and stuff. And so Quincy and Rachel, they're out on like the ice and they're studying birds, right? Then all of a sudden, they're like attacked by like Russian troops, Russian helicopters. And so, like, the military officers that are like, securing the place and like security, they realize those aren't U.S. like chopped helicopters and stuff. So it's like an epic battle. It's like gun firing like everywhere, you know what I'm saying? And so they're desperately trying to get back to Nathan Jones. Dr. Rachel, she is desperately trying to get these samples she took and put them back in her case and get them. But Quincy's all like, no, leave them. But she's like, no, we need this and everything. So it's like, okay, I don't understand. Like, first you dealing with a virus, but now you're studying birds, but you have these vials and like a canister. So something's up, and she's not saying, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, the US and like the Russians, they're like constantly firing at each other. And so, Commander Chandler, like, he's letting out the big guns, and it's like boom, boom, boom. And everything. And he takes down all those birds, not actual birds, but like helicopters. That's like the slang term from it. So, and so, like, he takes out like all those helicopters and they take out like all the men, but they capture one who's still alive. And so like even the dog took one of them out and everything. And so like when they board the Nathan Jones, Dr. Quincy, he's all like, they weren't after me, they were after you, Dr. Rachel, and stuff like that. And so now Commander Chandler is kind of like, what the heck is going on? Lady, who are you? And stuff like that. And, so when he contacts, I don't know if he contacts America first or he interrogates her first, but, but anyways, like when he talks to Dr. Rachel and everything, she finally confesses that for 4 months she ain't been studying birds. She needed a sample of the virus, a virus that is quickly killing a large population of like the earth. And so she's been deceiving him this whole time. And he's all like, well, how did the Russians find us? I forget the military terms. They've been like in radio silence for like for a good while and everything. And she's all like, I have my own satellite phone. And he's all like, well, that's how like, they found us and everything. You accidentally gave away our location when you used the phone. And so like the birds are the one who transmitted this disease when they was whenever they got that soil sample and everything from the Arctic, and they spread it out throughout the entire world. Now humans are affected, but other type of animals like dogs and stuff are not. And so they have tons of rats on boards and they're like studying them, and she's trying desperately to find like a cure and everything. And she's like really the only doctor in the world who really knows about like, this virus and how to trying to cure it and stuff like that. She believes somehow like it mutated and all kind of stuff like that. So it's like a super virus they have to deal with, which I kind of like a whole lot better than nuclear war fallout, because the 100 dealt with nuclear war for fallout. Now, of course, if this show had been made today, they would not went the super virus route because of the what virus and stuff. And so he's mad, he's pissed, he's furious and everything. The rest of the crew don't like her at all now because of this. Okay, this cast is huge. I don't know everybody's name. When I do the rundown review, I'll try my best. When I say this cast is huge, man, I mean this cast is huge. And so there are two lieutenants in here who like each other and are fooling around. And they're not really supposed to be clickety clacking with each other, you know what I'm saying? Because when emotions get in the way of your mission, then you wonder, do I save my lover or do I continue with the mission or let my lover die? You know what I'm saying? For the good of the mission. So those two are like, clickety clacking and stuff like that. And so like um, what is it? So finally, the president of the United States has contacted the U.S. Nathan Jones, right? And so Commander Chandler is very shocked and surprised to see who is the president now of the United States. It's no longer a man, it's now a woman. And it's not only a woman, it's not even the vice president. It is it's either the Secretary of State or it's the House Speaker. I can't remember which one it is in the show. But she is now the president, and she informs him that it's probably the House Speaker, probably, and she informs him that both the president and the vice president have died from the virus. That the virus is sweeping quickly in America, but not only in America, the entire world. She informs him that 80% of the Earth population is dead from this virus. The only reason why his crew wasn't affected because they were outside the hot zone. And she informs him that, she knows of Dr. Scott and that Dr. Scott has been working with the Pentagon on this virus and everything undercover. And she was not allowed to give away her mission and stuff. So this makes him a little bit more lenient towards that of Dr. Rachel, but the rest of the crew ain't feeling it. They're a little pissed. And so everybody on the ship is worried about their family and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so she requested that the Nathan Jones come back to America and see their families and stuff like that, which is kind of dumb if you have say, okay, this virus is spreading, they don't have a cure, they have to wear hazmat suits everywhere, and it's the only person who can cure it is on their ship. Wouldn't you want to get that far away from the hot zone and everything, while she can work on it in the lab? But anyway, they start to head back to America, and as they're heading towards America and stuff, the craziest thing happened. Over in, I think it was, forget where, I don't know exactly where they're at now. It was either France or it was a French military ship. Somebody detonated a nuke, and it was enough for the blast zone radius to almost blind the crew to Nathan Jones. So they know something crazy is going on, and they don't know what to do. And, the commander and the XO, they're always butting heads and stuff like that. So they need to refuel before they can get back to America, right? And so, since so many, because the president, the new president now says that, we no longer have enemies, we no longer have allies. A lot of the world leaders are dead and stuff. And so now they have to salvage whatever they can from passing ships. So they see this one ship. I forget, it might be an Italian ship, Italian military ship. And so they board it, and they, the orders are to get as much fuel and food and probably ammunition as you can. But for the most part, just food and fuel and stuff. So they're desperately trying to get as much as they can. And while they're on board, I think Franklin, his name is, he's friends with the blonde dude who's clickety clacking with the other lieutenant. He trips and falls, and his mask falls off, his hazmat mask. And so he has now been exposed, and he is bleeding profusely near the eye area and stuff. The friend of his, he's all look, man, we can put you in quarantine on the ship. We have to get you back home to America to see your family, stuff like that. And he's all nah, man, I don't want to die like all these people on the ship. And there are tons of soldiers on that Italian ship that are dead. Some of them are in the freezer. The rest are just in the mess hall, just lined up dead. The virus has taken them out. Only one man is alive, but barely. So Dr. Rachel gets a blood sample from him. And so Franklin, I believe his name is, he's all look, man, I'm not about to die like these people and get everybody else affected on the ship. He takes out his gun and puts it to his head. And Commander, Chandler's all I am giving you a direct order. Do not fire that gun and give it to me. He does it anyways. So now, like, the lieutenant friend that was clickety clacking with the other lieutenant, he's even more pissed now at Dr. Rachel and stuff. So they head back to the Nathan Jones and they head back to America after they got enough fuel and stuff. And so, like, as they're near like a porting station in Jacksonville, Florida, near that military base, they try to contact America. He's trying to contact the president. Nobody is answering their communication and stuff. And they're desperately trying to contact America and whatever United forces that are left, but nobody is answering. Commander Chandler fears that the U.S. military is no more and that the current president is no more. And so he makes the biggest order of his life that pisses off his XO. He ordered the Nathan Jones to head back to sea and far away from America so they can work on the vaccine of the virus. The XO's all like, look, man, we got about like 7 hazmat suits. You should like rotate, let the crew go out and see if their family's alive and everything. And he's all like, no, I'm not going to risk it. He's all like, we are the last ship. We are the last naval ship of the United States of America. And he's not going to risk that while there's still enemies out in the sea and there's a virus killing people. Because he doesn't want to be like in the hot zone. So he orders the ship out to sea and everything. And when like this is why the show is called The Last Ship. They are literally the last United States naval ship and everything. And so when they head back out to sea, the shadiest thing happens. We now know who contacted the Russians when they attacked. It was Dr. Quincy. Now he's British, but he's talking to the Russians in the Russian language and everything. He is like a mole and everything. But the thing is, what exactly is his mission while being on the U.S. Nathan Jones and stuff? So this is a very fascinating show. I know how it ends and stuff. I love every season except for the last. At least I think it's the last. Okay, whichever season has the live action Sokka from Avatar or The Last Airbender and the actor who plays RoboCop, that's the season I hate. That just kind of went off the mark with like steroids making giant food and controlling people's thoughts. And that's when the show kind of just went kind of crazy. And that's probably why it was the last season. But every other season is like phenomenal and everything. It's really hard hitting. There's tons of action. It's gritty. It is just like an amazing. Like I said, I don't know how authentic it is to real naval, like tactics and stuff, but it's a good show and everything. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.